Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, I got some old school Thomas Muster Head Pro Tour 280s. All right, check that out. These are the originals from 30 years ago, maybe longer, but these are one of the most sought after rackets in the aftermarket. eBay probably sells these even in beat up condition for at least $150 to $200. I've seen these go up as high as $300-400, and these rackets are like 30 years old. All right, so thank you to Alan Chieng in Hong Kong for sending me these two rackets. Thank you. That's a very, very nice gift. Hope you're staying safe in Hong Kong. I'm gonna go hit with these, and I actually, when I played with these 30 years ago, I wasn't a Pro Tour 280 kind of guy. Back then, I was probably more of a Pro Staff guy. So back then, I didn't really like the shape, but I mean, hey, we're talking 30 years later now. So I just want to see what the hype is with this racket. All right, so I'm gonna go put some new grips on these things and go hit with my man, Coach Rob, Coach Andrew, and maybe ITF Chris, and see how it goes. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so we just used those. You know what these are, guys. You know what these are. You like these. You want these, don't you? So we brought the OG rackets to the OGs today. And to me, it felt like home. I liked it a lot. These things are probably 30 years old, and I think it would survive today. If they made these rackets just like this, it'd probably be a top 10 seller, if not higher. The ball rocketed for me, at least, today. I liked it. I mean, it was heavy, solid. I mean, they don't make rackets like this anymore. So I get why people are still after these. Coach, what did you think of these?
I had a little different experience. I hit it and it didn't really feel like it was going anywhere. Harry did say my ball was acting like normal, but it just didn't feel like I was getting any pop off the racket. It is 30 years old, so that might be something to it. It could be just I'm getting tired and not able to put the same amount of swing power into it, but I love the feel in my hand. I love the weight. It did throw me back to the old days, which was great, but it was, for me, it was just missing a little power. At least it felt that way hitting it.
Yeah, the thing about it that I noticed is it wants you to swing. It doesn't want you to be tentative. The more aggressive you are with this racket, the better it reacts. So I basically swung hard and harder, and the ball just reacted better. It started dropping more. Definitely more penetrating, but as soon as I held up, you know, as soon as I went for that lollygag slice, it would be like, nah, I don't like this. I'm going in the net, or I'm going out. I don't like that. You swing like a man, is what this racket told me to. Like, swing like Thomas Muster, right?
Yeah, good analogy.
honestly, it's one of the best rackets I've used for, like, compared to nowadays. Like, rackets nowadays are like hit or miss, but like this one is a tribute to that. So I love how this felt. It's like how I started learning, but with the strings on it, honestly, I would buy this in a heartbeat. That's how much I love this racket. It's perfect for my forehand. I have a short, compact forehand, so it's stiff. So I like to have the feel of the racket going through the ball. So I like to feel the ball going through and my head weight going in. And surprisingly, on the backhand, it's the cleanest backhand I've ever hit with this racket. So it's really good. Volleys has great touch. I mean, most old rackets have great touch because they're stiff. And yeah, honestly, like if they refresh this and change probably the handle, because I'm not used to the handle. If they refresh, I know they had a refresh. They took out the IDS. Completely kind of defeated the purpose of a refresh. But if they kept the same thing and refreshed it and maybe changed the grip, it's just for preference. I would buy this in a heartbeat easily. Sorry, Yonex, but the head is actually like this is actually one. It's basically a Prestige, but better.
I think stiffer
than a Prestige, but it's better.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing. It's better.
Right. So head's not going to change his grip because that's called a signature head grip.
Yeah,
but
I know.
we can.
I can live with it. It's not a bad grip. You just got to learn it. But it's a pretty solid
constant
racket.
beam too, like back in the day. Chris, what did you think?
Yeah, so I played with like the new lines, the new Prestige lines, and compared to that, I definitely feel like this is a lot more stiff than the other rackets. This is an 18 by 20, so I didn't feel like I could get enough pop behind my shots with these as I was hitting. But yeah, it is very solid on the back end, that's for sure. But for me, I have kind of a bigger swing on my forehand, so I find it a little bit hard to hit through to my shots with this racket. But overall, I did quite enjoy playing with it, so it's going good.
Sorry, for being a 30-year-old racket, right? It kind of stands the test of time.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna go back to the store, and I'm gonna weigh and balance this thing for you, just to see if it's similar to any kind of racket that they make today. All right, so stay tuned. All right, so I hit with these rackets. My man, Coach Rob, hit with these rackets. We had Coach Andrew Gu hit with these rackets, and ITF Chris even hit with these rackets. We all came to a consensus, except for maybe Coach Rob, that he didn't quite like it because it was a little underpowered. But for a racket that's like this, I'm pretty shocked at how stiff it is. I mean, it felt stiffer than, let's say, that Sampras 85. And I mean, it was very, very solid. Even Coach Andrew loved this racket. I mean, this racket's older than him. So it stood the test of time. When I first got these rackets, it had like a Pro Blend on one of them and some crappy string on the other that has probably been sitting there for over 20 years. But we played with it, and it actually played pretty well. That Pro Blend was pro dead. But the other one had a little life to it. I think it was some kind of hybrid red polyester string. And then I cut them both out, and I strung them up with Solinco Confidential 16L at 48 pounds for both. And it definitely was kind of night and day. Like the 48 pounds with the Confidential made these things alive again. I mean, they hit super well. I was pretty shocked that, I usually don't play with a racket like this, but I would today. It was that good. Now, I brought my balance board out, and I'm going to actually weight and balance it just to see what the numbers come out to. 30 years later, let's see what happens. This is definitely a 5/8 grip, though. So just to let you know, this is a head 5/8 grip. It's got that head shape design, as you can see. Right, looks like the cap is gone off of this one. It has no trap door. No trap door in these. I don't see lead around, so I'm gonna, let's try balancing it. Okay, looks like we got 312 on the balance there. That's for the first one. The second one, so even back then, quality control wasn't wonderful. 322. So that goes to show you, quality control wasn't wonderful back then either. Let's hit the scale. At the scale with the first one, so the black is the first, the white is the second. Woo, that's a big number. The weight of the first one is 353.5. That's a big number. Let's see what the swing weight is. $312. Okay. All right, let's see what the second one is. $341.5. $316. All right, let's go analyze. So guys, so much for quality control back in the 80s too. These two are kind of far off too. Like it's like over 10 grams difference there, 4 there, 10 there. So surprisingly, they played well. The good thing is it's heavy, right? I like heavy rackets. You guys know that. The bottom one was definitely head heavier. That's head lighter. So that although was heavier overall, gave me a faster swing speed. This was lighter overall, gave me a little bit more weight on the head. So it kind of compensated for each other. We didn't really notice that big of a difference while hitting it. Coach Andrew loved it a lot. I loved it a lot. The one thing about this racket though is it didn't like if you went defensive on it. Like your slice has to be perfect. You have to commit to that slice on the backhand and really cut through with some speed. The racket would rather you come through a backhand, a la Federer, a la Wawrinka. It does not really like you to slice it. It wants you to be aggressive. It's a aggressive racket. So you have to kind of take it that way and strike the ball like you mean it, okay? As soon as you become tentative with the racket, the next shot's gonna be by you because there's not gonna be anything on it. So, I mean, if you're tentative, the racket knows, okay? But overall, great racket. I understand now why people sought this racket out. So if you have one of these sitting in your garage and you don't use it, put it up on eBay. You'll make some money. All right? If you find this at a Goodwill, buy it. That'll be like your treasure for the day. So thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.